It's time for Top That Trade. Joining us now, Phil Flynn, a Fox Business Network contributor, and Alan Nuckman, the chief market strategist at St. Paul Research. Here we go, guys. Round number one, harvest time. A sure sign of this, Bud Light is launching a pumpkin spice seltzer. But does this mean prices have to fall?
Well, that's kind of a misconception that people think that prices have to fall because the harvest comes in. But these markets, the grain markets, Phil's the expert, there's two seasons, obviously. There's South America and North America. So there's always something in play. But what I like, corn's come back down to the $5 breakout. But what I like is you're talking about Budweiser. Again, another week and another beer stock. This stock is 50% off its 2015 high. And Budweiser, even though I don't think anyone was going to want to drink a pumpkin spice seltzer, I like the stock here. If it can get it back above 65, you can attack those highs once again.
First of all, pumpkin spice seltzer is just wrong. It just is. I'm sorry. I can't go on with that, and so because I still like the company, I still like Budweiser, but you know what? I think one of the concerns, of course, with that industry right now is inflation. You look at the price of grain prices, even though they've fallen down, the cost of beer has gone through the roof. Kids are crying. They didn't care about inflation when their parents were paying for everything, but on beer night, when they could only get a few cans as opposed to a six-pack, things are a problem.
Let's be clear. Let's talk about college kids, not kids, college kids. Just
That's what I meant.
Don't get any
they're kids. Anybody that's below 50 is a kid to me. Anyway, getting back to this, it's kind of interesting. The seltzer market, hard seltzer, really revolutionized this industry. And there's everybody who's trying to jump on the bandwagon of the White Claw phenomena. And everybody's going, Boston Beer had a big miss with Trulia. It brought down their entire earnings back down. I think one of the sleepers here is Molson Coors. I think Coors is coming into this market. I think they have the lowest carb entry in the market, and it actually tastes better than some of the other ones. So I think that Molson Coors is going to be a good stock. I think they're going to benefit from that.
Let's not forget where this all started, people. Zima started the alternative beverage industry. Don't forget who brought you here.
Yeah, too bad it failed. It was, wrong time.
Round number two, energy players. Uranium has skyrocketed. Do you play CCJ, a Canadian producer, or another energy stock now?
I think right now uranium has had its run. I think it's a little dangerous to play. It's a very thin market. I would go with an ETF, perhaps. What was the ETF that we had? But anyway, I would stick with the ETFs if you want to trade uranium. I think if you want a better play, maybe go look at one of the miners, maybe Newmont Mining or something like that. That might be a better way to take advantage of this. I think that market is just too hot right now. And you know what happens if you touch uranium? It's not good. So don't touch it right now.
So to play another energy angle here, uranium already has had its day in the sun, but I like SunPower. SunPower is significantly off its highs from January, down 60%, whereas First Solar's only is 12% off its highs. So I like that. And this $25 is kind of the midpoint of the action for the last year. So SunPower, I think there's going to be a lot of initiative, obviously, in solar, and we've already had a big pullback.
Round number three, S&P 20. There are 20 S&P stocks that have been left behind. Which one do you think will spike?
Well, what's interesting is that 250 of the S&P stocks are better than the S&P itself. So it's about taking some of these stocks that haven't been in play. The one I like, and I've liked it many times over and over, is Micron. MU. Right now it's unchanged on the year. It's got a forward PE of 7, meaning it's the cheapest of the cheap stocks that haven't participated so far.
EA Sports, it's in the game. Here is a stock that was really hot for a while. It's underperforming. We think with the new sports season coming up, the reopening, it's going to do very well. They have some really great names, some great licensing agreement. So we really like that stock. Another one we like is one I mentioned earlier, Newmont Mining. We think that this is overvalued, but with the movement and the demand that we're seeing for precious metals, uranium, but things like aluminum, copper, platinum, and palladium, Newmont Mining is probably going to perform very well.
Here's your bonus round question for today. Burger King is banning artificial ingredients. How many ingredients are there? 120, 50, or 10?
I'm going to say it's going to be I'm going to go with the high number on this one because there's artificial agreements in almost everything. So I'm going to go with the high number, 120 or 110.
All right, then I'm going to split the difference because that seems too obvious because I think you're setting us up here. This is more about psychology of the questioner and us. I say 50.
Oh, the answer was 120. Phil wins this week. Very good job, guys. Business First AM continues right after this.